we being an awards website, I want to take you back into your career and make an observation, and you tell me whether you agree with it or not. And that is, I think that you're one of the great examples of a star who owes much of his success to show business awards. You won the Tony Award for your Broadway debut. And that, I'm sure, helped you in the 1970s get other roles past The Changing Room. Soon you were starring opposite Meryl Streep, and you had a quite outstanding career. And then in the 1980s, I think that, I remember the sensation The World According to Garp caused as a film. Critics loved it. There was a stampede to the theater. And your role was certainly courageous and brilliant and just in that oh my God zone. But I'm not sure that I think the Oscar nomination for that took things to another level, didn't it? And your career.
Well, yeah, it's hard to know with awards just what role they play. You're quite right. I had not worked on Broadway until I worked in The Changing Room in 1973. That opening night of The Changing Room was March 7th. The Tony Awards that year were March 25th. Only less than 2 weeks later. And I won a Tony Award. Bam! Right out of the gate. I was 27 years old at the time, and I've literally not been out of work since, except when I wanted to be. It really was the initiating moment of my career. Yeah, I'd done a lot of work up until then, but it had all been rep work in the theater. And this was like an astonishing change. By the same token, the Oscar nominations in the early 80s and all those Emmy Awards in the 90s for Third Rock from the Sun, they do. I mean, it's the only possible downside with awards like that is that they so completely define you. I mean, that is the thing that you're best known for, and it's very important for an actor not to be too well known for any one thing. You have to be fast on your feet and flexible. In a way, you have to reinvent yourself every time out, so you are known as an actor. An actor is someone who plays a wide variety of roles, or at least a character actor is, and that's what I am.
And you risk,
but and I like to win them. I mean, it's an astounding feeling. It's a huge rush winning these awards. I don't deny it. I don't dismiss it for a moment. I think the people who dismiss the importance of awards usually are the people who've already won them.
Well, you had quite a run at the Emmys initially, of course. Your first nomination came the year after your Oscar nomination. That was the day after. And I remember talk about the sensation. That movie was must-see appointment television. America stopped what it was doing to watch that. And wow, and you got an Emmy nomination out of that. So within 2 years, you had 2 Oscar nominations and an Emmy nomination. You were walking down a lot of red carpets.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Third Rock from the Sun, you were nominated every single year, and you won 3 out of the 6. You had a wonderful batting average there.
Yeah. I know. It made me wish I was a Major League Baseball player.
That's right. Babe Ruth wished he had a batting score like that.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, it's an odd thing with Emmy Awards. I mean, I began to think I almost had to apologize by the third one. It begins to get a little ridiculous. But I didn't send it back.
In this series competition for Third Rock, unlike this, actually I shouldn't say that. I have to bone up on the rules for guest acting. But in the case of your nominations as Dick Solomon, you had to pick one sample episode and give it to a jury and all that. Did you get involved in that process, or did you just leave that to the network people? Because that's where a lot of strategy comes into it, where you have to say, this is the best example of my work from the TV season, and a lot of actors blunder and pick the wrong thing.
I didn't really pick. Showtime made the selection, and they advised me that I'm not sure who it was, but they advised me to pick this episode, and I tend to think that other people sort of know your work better than you do. You don't necessarily perceive things very accurately.
So which episode will you
I
submit for Dexter? Do you recall? You're in good hands with Rich Licata and Kate Meyer and those people over there. They know their awards.
I trusted their eye. They advised me to select the episode where I tell my whole story, where I go into that bathroom and recreate the moment of the trauma. Mm-hmm. It's actually a kind of muted episode, but it shows the Trinity Killer's torment. It shows the other side of him. It's not one of the monster episodes. I don't do any. In fact, I attempt my own suicide in that episode. But it's a fairly muted one, and I really didn't have much of an opinion. I really felt that they would probably make a better choice than I would, so I deferred. My favorite, my favorite of the episodes, as I've told you, is the Thanksgiving episode. But that was just because I was living out my Edward Albee fantasy.
Whoa.
I loved the family tensions. I thought that was just extraordinary.
Yeah, that absolutely is. Any final thoughts on Dexter or what's next in your career for us here as we sign off?
I'm very wistful about Dexter. I think they're in their second week of shooting the next season. Mm-hmm. I've emailed back and forth to Michael, but I haven't dropped by the set. I just feel very sentimental. It's a wonderful bunch of people. My only regret about doing the show is the only actor I really got to work with in that great company was Michael. Mm-hmm. It's full of such tremendous actors. And there was one moment when David Zayas walked by me in the office, but that was the extent of my ensemble acting on that series. Great people.
Well, good luck to you, John. At the Emmys ahead, may you win one more.
Well, that's very kind of you, Tom, and thank you for initiating me into the dark arts of Skype. I've never done this before. This is my first time.
Well, you're welcome back anytime because you're a favorite of ours.
I look at my own image in my Skype webcam, and I didn't know I so clearly resemble Mr. Potato Head. But apart from that, I'm delighted.
Okay, thank you, John.